Hey guys, Hawk here. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. First, disclaimer, this is not a standard 3D print and slap it on your blaster kind of kit. It's going to require quote-unquote actual modding where you're cutting your blaster. It's going to be epoxying parts back together, that kind of thing. So if you're not comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable with bodywork, this might not be the kit for you. But with that disclaimer out of the way, first you're going to start off with these cutting guides. And this one will pop right into place, and you can go ahead and tack that in place pretty easily. Should fall right where it should be. This one, however, on the other side, kind of pokes out a little bit, so you'll have to kind of torque it back this way. And then once you get it lined up, you can see how it's not lined up. Once you get it lined up, then you can go ahead and hot glue that in place just like you did the other one. Once you get these two on, you'll take this part, which is a gauge block. It should be 28.5 millimeters from side to side, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have anything to measure with. Put it right there. Take your next guide, pins fit in nicely, and then use that to make sure that both of these are parallel. And then do the same with the other side. And once you get everything tacked into place, I do not recommend cutting both of these at the exact same time. I recommend starting with the right side, which is the battery door side. Bandsaw if you have it. If you don't, Dremel will be fine. Sanding drum on your Dremel to get it relatively close to the guide. Now keep in mind that these are soft plastic. They're not meant to stop you. They're just meant to be used as a guide. Emphasis on that. Then I recommend using a hand file to get them to the finished sizes. And once you start fitting it together, then you can come back and put the blaster back together with this side being not cut. And then you can use this flat top right here to make sure that both this way and this way are aligned correctly. And you're going to want to take your time on that because this is a flywheel cage up here. It's kind of important what direction that's facing. And then once you get this side lined up, then you can go ahead and tack it like I have on this guy, excuse me. On this guy right here, just on the outside. You can tack it on the inside as well, but don't go too far down because you'll need to be putting this insert on. See, I have some tacks in there. So once you get this side done up, then you can go ahead and cut this side and basically do the exact same thing where you're using this side of the shell to line this one up. Don't be afraid to take the guides off and, you know, fine-tune where you're going to make sure everything's lined up properly. The alignment is the most important thing. You know, you can always sand down a little bit and have a little bit of give on these. So once you get that done, you can go ahead and epoxy these guys into place. You'll epoxy, you know, the shell together. That's pretty standard for integrations and stuff like that. And then once you get that done, you'll have this little piece right here. All the printing orientations should be pretty apparent. You don't need support for any of these. That's the bottom of the print. There's a little stick that's going to be coming off of this rounded part, coming down, and it's going to be the bottom, something like that. You should see what I'm talking about. But this one's going to need a little bit of hand filing, a little bit of love. Round this guy off. Make sure you keep this top one sharp because that's what's actually retaining the magazine. And then there's a little bit of a ledge right here to support this pin. You'll go ahead and file that off as well, and then clean off anything that's terrible because your printer is terrible at printing small parts like that. So this line right here, this vertical line, this all needs to be Dremeled down. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but you can kind of tell by how deep it needs to be by this right here. So just keep going until it fits properly. And then there's usually a groove, there's usually a slant on this guy. You'll need to make that level with the rest of this line right here. So just trim that down. This one's fine. This one is meant to be there, but this one you're gonna have to trim down a little bit. And just keep fitting this until, just keep checking with this until it fits. There's also a cutting guide right here that you put on. Basically, you're going to take a flywheel cutter thing from a Dremel and just rough it out. Don't try to get it too precise with the Dremel because it's not going to happen. Then with an X-Acto knife, just kind of keep taking it open little by little until this guy fits in there and you get that nice. Don't be afraid to take that one out because it's really just about how this fits. So this cut right here should be level with the rest of this, and then just open this guy down, and then this guy as well, kind of move that down. So you'll also need to cut out this thing until it's about level with this. Go a little bit further if you don't trust yourself. I believe there's a peg in here somewhere that I had to cut out. I'm not 100% sure about that. I think it was right here. Don't quote me on that. But then this side as well is you're gonna need to take down these pegs right here. Obviously the same thing applies for this side in terms of the fact that I can't get this off for some reason, but it applies for the same thing on this. So that's pretty much the entire tutorial of how you should be doing this. Anything beyond that should be pretty intuitive. But if you guys have any questions or you're having any trouble, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and I'll try to see if I can help you with that. Thanks for watching.